Hello and welcome to the Scottish Football Show, powered by the Rangers Rabble podcast. Unusual for us to be on a Thursday night, but we've had a bit of midweek action. So here we are at Beach watching a pre-season friendly of two Saudi Arabian teams, I suppose. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Kerr, Davey and Lewis. Kerr, how are we doing?
No bad. Working all week in an office. No for him. Sharp.
Don't be jealous now. Davey, you are here after a bit of a heroics through the week. Tell us what happened.
Aye, Robert. I was going to do a care and head to the office on Tuesday, and whilst I was at Queen Street Station, started at the top of the platform, the stairs heading out to George Square, and I slipped on the first step and I went down them all and ended up in hospital.
We feel for you, mate. Absolutely. It'd be good to see you back fully fit, and we saw you mate Ibrox as well, so an absolute trooper. Lewis, delighted to have you back. How we doing, big man? All right?
I'm not bad, mate. I'm sitting here, not in the office, and with two unbroken legs, so I'd say I'm doing better than the other two.
Excellent. Listen, glad to see some people in the comments already, so do like, subscribe, and put your comments in. Anything sensible we'll put up on the screen. But as we say, like a jam-packed card through the week there, loads of stuff happening. But I want to start, obviously, with the managerial, we'll say resignation, so Connor can't get his wee line in. Derek Adams is resigned. I think not even 80 days in charge. Writing was probably on the wall very early doors when he comes out with his comments, sort of criticising the state of the Scottish game in comparison to where he came from, which, by the way, was League Two Morecambe, for anyone that didn't know. And then he went on to sort of lambast his players, and from there on, just could not bring it around, culminating in an absolute doon on Tuesday night at Fir Park, which saw Motherwell sort of rampant 5-0 winners. Ken, I'll come to you first. Was this always going to happen with the way it sort of started?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I came out and said the comments right at the start, because he was just in the door, but I thought he was happy to come back because he's been there before, and I thought he was coming back maybe for family reasons, whatever, but he's come back and didn't look happy from day one, so I'm not sure the reason why he came back. I don't understand it, but I don't think he started well. I don't think he did put the players in the right frame of mind with his comments. Obviously, after him, a few of them can stop listening to him. I think the board are too happy with him, and I think the fans aren't too happy either. And it was always going in like this, wasn't it? It was a bit of a circus, and they're probably happy. The fans are probably happy in a way, but I don't know who else they're going to get, because it's a location, isn't it? It's quite a distance away, and to poach somebody up there. They don't pay top dollar, so I'm not 100% sure they're going to promote within, and they're going to maybe look for somebody maybe for the Championship or League One or something. I don't know.
Well, Don Cowie is interim charge at the moment. That seems to be quite a flashy thing to do, is get an interim manager for a wee while. We've seen that with Aberdeen. Davey, after the game, he said that it was a difficult position they were in. It was difficult from the day he came in. Do you think he just didn't realise how big a job he had on, and then once he got in, he sort of bitten off more than he could chew, as the old saying goes?
Struck me as a toxic relationship for the start, that one. It's kind of like that ex that you're familiar with. You had a couple of good dates and nights together back in the past, and you're reliving your glory days, but every time you get back together, you argue and just constantly argue, and it's never going to work. That's Derek Adams in Ross County. And ever since he come back, he talked to our game down, and this is the reason why we do this podcast, because we're all massive Rangers fans, but we can appreciate that there is some excellent players in the league and some tremendous football at grounds that, that aren't the ones that we're always watching, and we like to highlight that. So for Derek Adams to come back in and just dig the league out for the start, I think it's more to cover his own inadequacies. I mean, he's never hit any heights down south. He had a peak spell at Plymouth, but that's probably the highlight of his managerial career. And how many years ago was that? So, I just think it was familiarity, but familiarity can breed contempt, and that's certainly what's happened here. And I think Roy McGregor's back to the drawing board. He's went for experienced managers the last 2 or 3 turns, post Kettlewell, and it hasn't worked out for him. So I think he's just saved by the fact that Livingston are really struggling at the moment, or would be under severe pressure with his own fans.
Lewis, that's a point that I wanted to come on to, is the fact that, Roy McGregor may not be in a rush, having given Don Cowie the interim post to appoint someone else, given that how poor Livingston have been. We'll come on to them shortly, Livingston, but add to that they're 6 points above Livy. They're probably, I think, they're 5 behind St Johnstone. It looks like they are going to be in the playoffs. Will they give Don Cowie a bit of time, much like maybe Barry Robson got for Aberdeen at the end of last season?
I hope they get relegated, to be honest.
Why do you hope they're relegated?
I'm just sick of them. Just sick of them. I think they've been a bit of a shambles of a football club for the past few years. They done well, kind of teasing with the top 6 a few seasons ago. I think they had maybe a 2 or 3 season stretch where they were kind of just finishing mid-table quite comfortably. And like you said, if it wasn't for an absolutely shambolic season from Livingston, then they would certainly be in so much danger. And just Derek Adams, I mean, you have to question the character of a man that comes in to a place that gave him his first go in management and spent a large section of his playing career at, to just come in and top down on the league that you spent your career at. It's crazy to me, and the writing was on the wall for the minute he done that interview, and he deserves everything he gets, and I really don't think he should ever manage in any professional capacity again, because that's just like, where's the intelligence levels at? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, he made Lee Johnson look like a genius comment-wise, and that is really saying something. So, it's sad because we try our best to come on this programme and talk about, try and talk our game up, but the quality of manager in this league, even if you just look at this season, is absolutely embarrassing. Like, it really is. Some of the managerial performances this year, and ours included, by the way, a man who should never have been appointed Rangers manager, so I'm not just downing the rest of the clubs. It has been pretty embarrassing, and things need to improve, and the likes of Aberdeen and Ross County need to take a hard look at themselves and try and appoint a proper manager instead of maybe going for the cheap option or going back the way.
Maybe just in a wider sort of conversation then, because Lewis makes a point there that I think you could sit one side or sit on the other side. Younger managers have been given an opportunity, as we've just talked about there. Barry Robson, we could talk about Don Cowie, if he's going to get the job. Is that the route? Stephen McLean was another one. Is that the route to go down, or does there need to be some sort of balance? Because you look at Craig Levine, obviously Neil Walnott's now coming in. Where do you sit on that? We've seen guys like Kevin Thompson do well and not been given jobs. It's a tricky one to balance.
I think it's all the clubs like who are in the SPL at the moment want to stay there, don't they? So they don't want to go for the maybe cheap option because they're scared to get relegated. Obviously, Livingston's been flirting with relegation for the last few seasons, and David Martindale's probably been punching above what he should be, but it's difficult because it all comes down to finance at the end of the day for them, and try to play players' wages, try to put a manager on a decent wage, and some clubs can't do it, so they have to just try and pick a certain kind of shop, if you know what I mean. They're in a certain level of shopping. It's maybe not the greatest, so maybe should they look down the league to see maybe something like Kevin Thompson, Reece McCabe, somebody like that who's doing really well weird at the moment, or do they just keep going for tried and tasty folk who keep failing and just keep around the houses with the same names? I don't really know. It's up to these chairmen. It's up because they're trying to get money into the stadiums because they can't fill them at times, and once they go out the SPL, they're going to struggle even more because they'll not get Celtic or Rangers fans coming here to fill half the stadium, maybe twice a season. So it's difficult, but I think it was a bad move Ross County made. I think maybe he done it because he's no madam to the past. Maybe there's still a wee bit of relationship there, but it was a bad move. Listen, like I said earlier, it's like location doesn't help them, but there's obviously managers there who you could take the chance on, and going for Derry Adams was a wrong move for them. It's turned out to be. So I don't know where they go for here. I don't know if we have to pay him a lot of money. Is it just like I'm leaving, see you later? I don't really know what's happened, but there's guys out there, but I think they'll stick with Don Cowie to end the season. I hope Don Cowie does well because he was a decent player. He stuck by Ross County as well. He played for him for a few seasons. So, listen, if he does well, why not give him a chance? Because it might save him a few pounds because they're going to be in a relegation fight to end the season anyway.
And he's already from that area, so as you say about location, you haven't really got to tempt him to come up and live there. He's from that neck of the woods, Don Cowie as well. Listen, Derek Adams was back. You see in January, I think they put in 6 or 7 players, so I don't think he can be on that. Okay, we'll move swiftly onto the action itself for third part, because it was some real great goals, Davey, in this one. Motherwell will start off the game in great shakes. Blair Spittle out wide to Theo Bair. He gets the ball in the box, and it's Andy Halliday. It pops up and puts them 1-0 in front.
Yep, and obviously good for Andy Halliday's confidence because he's been on the sidelines for quite a while now at Hearts since coming back from injury, and he wasn't really going to get back in Naismith's plans this season. So it was good for him to go out and get a move. And he played his first game on the bench, and then he's been in the team ever since he's moved. He's back in central midfield, which is probably a more natural position for him. Although I always think that the thing with Halliday, he was kind of labelled a defensive midfielder, but I actually think that the higher he plays, the better he is. He's a terrific football player. He's great in sort of little triangles in and around the box, and that's where you get the best of him. He's either on the end of things or he's the guy linking the play for the key pass. And I think Motherwell will certainly see the benefit of that. Earlier on in the season, they've been lacking a cutting edge, and I certainly think Halliday coming in is just giving them, a bit more of an option. They seem to use Bair as the sort of linchpin up front, and they all play around him. As you see, Spittle had an excellent game. I said to you on the podcast last week that it's coming for him, it's coming, and it certainly came the other night, and a great finish for the first goal, but I'm sure you'll come on to it as you talk in the game. The second goal was, for me, goal of the season.
You went for the second one? The second one is goal of the season? Okay.
I think, listen, see the fact that he cut in and he's put it right in the top corner, and the goalkeeper's at full stretch. Like, he wasn't caught out or anything like that. He placed it there. I think it's a terrific finish.
Lewis, just on that midfield, Davey talks about Andy Halliday obviously coming in. You look at how well Blair Spittle is playing, Payton as well, is come onto a game as well. So the fact that they're keeping Lennon Miller on the bench tells you everything you really need to know.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but the first few episodes this season when we were on the Scottish Football Show, I actually said that I think Motherwell have one of the most well-balanced midfields in the league, and that is, you're now adding Andy Halliday into that. Like you said, you've got Payton, you've got Callum Slattery, who's a really good player as well, and Blair Spittle's been excellent this year. I mean, I know Davey said that second goal was lovely, but the last goal was absolutely magnificent. I think that's probably goal of the season, to be honest with you. And you're right, keeping a wonder kid like Lennon Miller on the bench, you certainly must be doing something right. And listen, that's nice lighting him. He's just turned 17, and there was like a crisis from Motherwell fans because he wasn't starting. So he's got a big future ahead. But you look at, like, outside of maybe 4 teams in the league, I think Motherwell have the best crop of midfielders. I really, really do. Even if you look at strength and depth, it's magnificent. And then Theo Bair as well. I mean, he looked like he couldn't even play professional football at St Johnstone, and now he's got like 11 goal involvements this year. And they need him. They absolutely need him because they lost the boy Washington, and obviously Beereth was sent back to Arsenal. So, and Stuart Kettlewell was a manager I always rated. I thought he was quite harshly treated at Ross County as well. I think he's got a bright future in management, Stuart Kettlewell. I like the way he talks. He's really good in the open goal interview. So I think Motherwell are looking like they're improving, and it's a good thing because they were on a really horrid run at one point. We'll
come on to Kettlewell in a moment, Kev, but as I say, all the goals were really, really good. You had the one where Bair was, I know he was offside, but he takes it really well also. I just want to talk about, Theo Bair in particular, because as Lewis says there, he's really taken over the mantle. You think when they had Kevin Van Veen last season, there was no chance they were going to replace him. And he seems to have hit a bit of form now, Theo Bair, given the fact that KVV could have came back in January and maybe they were priced out of that. looks like that they're not really looking back; they're more looking forward.
Yeah, he's been given his chance, hasn't he? Let's say, he was ill last season. I know Beereth was in at the start of the season, so he said people he's having in competition with, but he's took his chance. At the start of the season, probably could have hit a barn door with a banjo, but the last few weeks he's been superb, and sometimes that's all you need, but a luck, get some game time, score a couple of goals, your confidence goes up, and that's on a roll. And the way he's playing just now, he's always looks like he's going to score. And listen, Motherwell are a decent side. They go through spells, don't they? They play really well at times, and they'll be like 1, 2 or 3 and then get beat 2 or 3. That's just Motherwell in general, but they've got a few decent players who, when they come together, they're a good team. But this boy's he's played a few games, like I said. His confidence is really, really high, and he's enjoying it at the moment. Listen, he could miss a couple of chances and not score a few games, and it could go back down again. But boy, what's high, he'll continue to score, because I think he gets the chances, doesn't he? He does. Motherwell do create a few chances, and he does take them. But Blair Spittle's going a hat trick. Blair Spittle's been about for years, it seems like, but he's not even that old. But he's always one of these boys. He's got talent. He does a lot of hard work on the part. He's not got enough talent to go up another level, but for where he is at the moment, he's doing really well.
That second goal for me is goal of the season contender. It's an absolute peach. We've spoken about goalkeepers in the last podcast, and we mentioned the county goalkeeper, but he just he couldn't do anything the other night. He had a real sort of a spectator's evening. Just on Stuart Kettlewell after the game, he kind of said, the team was outstanding, but we're in a groove. They're now, I think, 1 point behind Dundee in 6th, which really, Davey, when you think about it, a couple of weeks ago, we were sort of saying he was, a 1 defeat away from losing his job. He really has got them back in form. It's whether they can build on this. I just wanted to pull up this question from Alex Banks, who is a friend of the show. Stuart Kettlewell could have been the answer for Ross County. Do you think it shows patience does work manager-wise? They were seemingly in crisis not so long ago, which I've just mentioned.
Well, I mean, it's a fair point that Alex makes. The thing with Kettlewell at the time as well, he's also had a couple of big scalps as Ross County manager. Obviously, he put Neil Lennon Celtic at the League Cup that year as well, before he was sacked maybe a couple of weeks later. But this season, I think Motherwell's start has helped them out, because they did start well. They still had the momentum for the end of last season, and they started well, and then they hit that sticky patch. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And certainly, it looks like they've had a chance to regroup in January, and he's done smart business for his key positions. And the fact now that he seems to have an identity and he knows how he's going to play, I still think, his right back area is probably the one part of the team that he needs to address. And obviously he brought in Adam Devine, I think, with a view to sort of looking to see, what he's going to do with that side of the pitch. Because for me, any time that Stephen O'Donnell certainly plays there, they're in trouble, because he's a hospital pass or a crazy decision away from, costing them. So that for me is the sort of main weakness in the team. The centre halves are a bit rash as well at times in the tackle and positionally as well. And I don't think that's helped Liam Kettley's performances this season. But for me, I think they will make the top 6 this season. I think they'll just pit Dundee to it. I know Dundee's a great side, but it's their first season back, and you just think they're maybe just starting to run out of momentum, and maybe this is where Motherwell will capitalise.
Bold call there, Davey, ruling out Hibs and Aberdeen for the top 6. There's only 2 points separating Dundee in 6th and St Johnstone in 10th, Lewis. It's quite a race for that last spot.
I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I don't want to speak down on our game too much, but you look at 10th, like you said, in St Johnstone to Kilmarnock, there is only 12 points in it, and I'm pretty sure St Johnstone even have a game in hand over Kilmarnock. So they win that game, there is only a 9-point gap between the other 7 teams in the league. It's absolutely craziness. And you look at, I think Motherwell was at a 14 or 15 game run they went with it winning, and they're now a point away from getting into the top 6. It just doesn't happen anywhere else in Europe. But
that should be a selling point, though, should it not?
Well, it is entertaining, because Motherwell can beat Ross County 5-0 one game and then get beat 7-1 off Dundee the next game. So you don't know. Honestly, any the from like Hearts onwards, I think anybody in this league could beat anybody. Maybe you take out Livingston this year, but it is very, very tightly contested. And Kilmarnock and St Mirren will need to watch their back because, like I said, both of them have played 25 games. A lot of the teams below them are got like a game or two played less. So if they're not careful and they don't keep up their winning runs, which to be fair, they've been in good form, then they could get caught up as well.
Keep your powder dry on that. We're going to talk about the race for fourth a little bit later on in the show. Okay, listen, we've got to go to Easter Road now. It's been a massive talking point for the last, 24 hours. We'll start with the award of the first penalty care. A lot of people saying they have never seen a penalty awarded for a clash of heads before. Where do you stand and talk us through your view on this one?
To be honest with you, I have seen penalties last before, but it's listen. You're sitting on the side of the fence here. You know what I mean? That's the way football is. You either think it's a penalty, you don't, and it can sometimes go into who you support and who you don't support. But for me, probably in any other place in the park, possibly a free kick, maybe not, because the house player's his eyes on the ball. He's not got his eyes on the man. He's not even anywhere look towards the man, and I think it's an accidental clash of heads. And for him to call a penalty straight away, I thought was very poor. I thought it was a bad decision. That's just coming from us. I've seen it before, but you've seen clash heads where somebody's head of the ball and the guys come into the back of him or right into the side of him. They know even any thinking I'm going to win the ball, but I'm going to take a guy. But the house player never thought that. His eyes were on the ball, and he probably thought he was going to get it, but he was just late and Johnson won it. But I still don't think it was a penalty. But the way football is going, Robert, it's getting softer. The decisions are getting worse. And sometimes it gets that bad, you just turn the telly off, you're like, this is shite. But it's, honestly, man, it's some of the decisions and the referee and the VAR, it's getting really bad to watch. I'd rather watch games that don't involve VAR. It doesn't really matter who's playing, it's just because it's less hassle in VAR. VAR just makes it, any team that gets touched, they're looking for something. They're looking for a penalty, they're looking for a free kick, they're looking for something else. You score a goal and then you don't know if you should celebrate because it could be offside, or 20 seconds before that somebody's been tugged or pulled. Or it's just nonsense. But to me, it's not a penalty. But people will maybe saying because I'm only saying that because I'm not a Celtic fan. But honestly, I don't think it's a penalty. The second one I think was a penalty, but the first one no.
I think that's the thing. We're going to get labelled here. Obviously, we're a predominantly Rangers podcast. We try to be a bit more neutral on this show, certainly. Davey, is the key word there, like Kerr touched on, accidental? Does that come into it at all for you?
Well, it's knowing the rules. It's all subjective because it's down to the referee's interpretation at the end of the day. And as we've seen on 2 occasions this week in all the games, even the VARs and the referees have disagreed on decisions. So that tells you, there's just absolutely no clarity amongst themselves about, what is right and what is wrong in certain circumstances. So if they can't even sort it out amongst themselves, then what chance is fans got to, given a level of understanding to incidents? But I mean, I'll take what Kerr says and I'll just add to it, you can see why it's given, but I mean, if that was Livingston versus St Johnstone, would it be given? And when I say you can see why it's given, I don't mean that I think it was a penalty. I just mean, the fact that they'll say that he was caught in the head, right? And he's been fouled, whether you like it or not, accidental or not, it's still technically a foul. So, a foul in the box, they'll see it's a penalty. There's no intentional, unintentional rule, and while I disagree in terms of, if I was refereeing a game, I'd let it go for a clash of heads. That's probably maybe why I'm not a referee, but I'm just playing devil's advocate, as much as I can to say, would we shout for it if it happened to our players? It did happen to Cortez, the game before, the night before, maybe no as much to the same circumstances in terms of, the level in which Cortez was injured, but he was still knocked in the head for a head challenge, whether it be an accidental collision or not, and no foul was given at that point.
which brings me nicely, Lewis, to just finally, which I want to point I want to make on it. That has this now set a precedent, because I've heard numerous people from many other outlets sort of saying, these head collisions happen every week in every game in every country. Are we going to see a penalty at the weekend in the Scottish Cup for this sort of thing, or do you think it's just going to be swept away like everything else seems to be in our wee league?
Well, Lyndon Bowes in the comments there is not going to be happy, because I'm going to struggle to take my blue tinted spectacles off, because the first one is never a penalty. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about any explanation, rule or no rule. How can the referee justify that either of the players had intent to header each other when both players had eyes on the ball and any other part of the pitch? What would it be? You would just give it to the team that had the ball last. It's not a foul as in that person's fouled the opposite player, so they then get a free kick to gain an advantage. It's just replayed back to the last point. So how the hell does Celtic get an advantage from a 50-50 challenge? Like, see if it happened to Rangers, let's not sit here and lie. We would be absolutely buzzing. We would enjoy the penalty. But see anybody with a brain cell after the match and they were asked about it, if you look at it with a bit of intelligence, they would probably go, aye, we get away with that there. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Celtic fans that would say the same thing. Like I said again, how the hell can the referee or an official tell who was in the wrong there? The only justifiable reason you could give is that Alistair Johnston stood firm and was going to header the ball in the opposite direction, whereas the Hibs player was in movement. That is the only reason I could find to justify why that penalty was given. And even then, I mean, come on, you're clutching at absolute straws here. Sometimes I just feel like these referees want to be the star of the fucking show. That is what it feels like. It really is. They want to be centre of attention. And was that checked by VAR at all? Was that...
yeah, it was.
Highlights? And did they say it needed to be looked at? No, they just agreed.
That's it.
Joke. This is Scotland for you. And it's even the second penalty. Like, I probably would just about slightly say that as a penalty. But like Alex said in the comments, he got the shot away.
No, well, my issue on that, just to support Lewis for the second one, is I know they'll say he got the shot away, right? So the advantage of the attacking plays already took, but he was caught after that, right? So what I want to ask, or the question I want to pose in the second one, was, say Kyogo's strike goes in, does Andrew Dallas then bring it back because it's a foul? Not if the goal scored, they would have just played on and no took anything to do with it. That for me is the biggest sort of farce of it all, So when did they decide that APP is just allowed to go? And then when it doesn't. So it's only an attacking advantage if you score now, because that's what I'm taking for that.
Come on, used to. Joe Neal dived and he didn't have to make that tackle. It's a free kick outside the box and he's on the line of the box with a penalty. The head clash, no, but listen, that's a bad challenge. He didn't have to make that challenge. The ball's away, yeah, but he still didn't have to make that challenge. So
I take that point, yeah, I take that point, but what I'm saying is, what happens if Kyogo scores? Like, is he going to bring it back?
He can pull it back, they can just go in, because the goals, that's a penalty, the goal can disfine me, but that's up to the ref then. But I'm not going to sit here and say it's not a penalty, because in my opinion it is.
I think as well, just on that one, Joe Neal's kind of face maybe kind of gives it away that he knows that he's done something wrong. Anyway, just back to the first one quickly. Adam Ida, what do you want to call him? He steps up, puts it away calmly, and gives them the lead. Hibs had a wee chance just after that. Obika fires one in, Lewis, and it just comes to LAU, and then he blazes it over. Okay, maybe took a bit of a deflection, but Hibs were just sort of making sure that they were going to let us know that they were going to be in this game.
They were going to be in this game. They should have won this game by about 3-0. They had, I think they had 11 shots and like 8 of them were on target, right? Which straight away, that is magnificent. You don't see that. You're usually talking maybe 55% of your chances created are actually on target, and then maybe 50% of them are golden opportunities. Hibs had about 4 or 5 golden opportunities in that game to put Celtic to bed. They absolutely dominated them in terms of the chances that they got and the quality of their chances. And it's the quality of the league. You can't sit here and get too angry. Like, it's annoying that Celtic didn't drop points when they probably should have. But that's what you expect, that they're the second best team in the league. Do you know what I mean? That's the rest of the league is absolute dross in comparison to us two, even though that I think the Old Firm are actually, that they're not the greatest of squads that we've ever seen for Rangers and Celtic, but the rest of the league just can't compete. I mean, any other team on an average level in Europe would have put Celtic to bed, would have absolutely put Celtic to bed. So it's annoying, but again, you can't just keep hoping. You just need to focus on Rangers.
David, do you think that's slightly harsh, the fact that, it's just saying that the other teams can't compete? Because I thought Hibs, especially when they got the goal, a lovely finish, by the way, from Dylan Levitt, who we spoke about on the last podcast, saying that he needed to step up and do something. Certainly did last night. And then they go on to create, as Lewis said, there are a number of good chances. I think Miller has one that he should probably do better with. And then Martin Boyle obviously dives for a penalty. So they were in the game and they did have the better chances, as Lewis said, in that second half.
Yeah, I think Nick Montgomery will be, raging that they didn't capitalise on the amount of clear-cut chances they had. And obviously the right back, Miller, you've just got to put your foot through that. Why is side-footing that there? That is just, you're told to put the laces through it, like when you're 4 or 5 years old, kicking the ball for the first time at the back door with your dad, and how he's side-footing that there, I just don't understand it for the life of me. And it's a shame for Hibs, because I thought they were nervous in the first 5-10 minutes of the game. And then see, after 25 minutes, Joe Newell started getting on the ball and dictating play. And Callum McGregor went quiet in the game the more that Joe Newell grew into it. And I thought, Joe Newell is, a player who's probably wrong side of 30 now, but he's got great technical ability and he can dictate games. And, the more he's on the ball, the more dangerous Hibs look. He's finding passes for deep. He's splitting Celtic's defence in behind the fullbacks all the time. And that's where you can exploit them. And their centre halves are poor as well at the moment. And as you know, their goalkeeper's always going to gift you chances as well. And I just think it's an opportunity miss for Hibs, who have been on a poor run of late. But for me, they have got, certain levels of quality in their squad. I think they miss a cutting edge up top. That's really, what they're lacking. If Lawrence Shankly played for them, then probably Hibs would be in third, because I think, pound for pound, they've got some nice, tidy footballers in key positions. I think Fish is, a great centre-half for them as well. And he's great at coming out with the ball and carrying it, and he's comfortable on it, and he's a great old-fashioned defender as well. So, I don't think, Hibs are, their squad is worthy of their league position, if you know what I mean. They should be a lot higher than they actually are.
Dave, I just want to come back to your point that you say about the mission maybe cutting edge up top. I thought the boy Mizani, when he came on, he looks a little bit more of a threat than Venti does. Whether Venti's suffering with his confidence, I don't know, but he seemed up for it.
He did. He had a bit of physical presence, but he also got to sell into some really good positions. And he got in behind, was it Narovsky, 2 or 3 times when he come on. And I just think that maybe, sometimes managers don't like to go with the more robust, physical type centre forward. But see, sometimes just play back to goal and go forward a lot quicker, because you've seen, when Hibs made that change and Venti come off, again, they looked more dangerous. And I just think, Venti, Montgomery's maybe hoping that he plays himself back into form. Now's that, I think it's just the time to change it and go away. Is it Malida? After his goal against who was it they played last week? Was it Dun?
St. Mirren.
St. Mirren. So it was. Sorry, he caught me there. He's maybe desperate for a start, but you maybe see that'll happen next week.
Okay, I keep coming to you with these decisions, but you're quite strong on them. So the dive from Boyle, it's clear cut, right? Does he have to go down?
No, he's looking for it, but some players do, some players don't. But
he seems to do it quite regularly, though. He's got a name for himself.
He does, and I didn't watch any game last night. I don't. When they're on the telly, I have no interest. So I just look on the chat with you, or I'll watch the highlights. But he has got previous for it, Martin Boyle, but wasn't a penalty for me. I know a lot of people said today, and social media it should have been, but no for me. If I was going against me, I wouldn't be happy. I just think he was looking for it down far too easily, and I think he get touched either, to be honest with you.
I've never mind a yellow card for diving. You should have a yellow card for that haircut. It's absolutely shocking. A full tub of vandal grease in the tappet. Right.
Just like to say, I know David mentioned Joe Hart there being a weak link, and he has been, but he's kept him in the last couple of games.
With
Do you know
bigger
what I
save, I definitely agree with you.
At the weekend, and I think Hibs haven't been great this season. We know that because I try to play a different style, but Celtic invited them on very easily, and they got through they got quite easily get through Celtic. So Hibs will probably go to the weekend and get beat because they'll go back to the to a team who doesn't play that way and they'll struggle. Whereas Celtic are just struggling. We've seen it at the end. I know they were celebrating, and we all do that. We done it on Wednesday night, but I think I had more relief for them because they knew they played bad again. And that's 2 games in a row. And listen, they'll keep it up because Rodgers is an egomaniac, so he'll think everything's great. But you can see everything's rosy in that garden, but it's up to us to keep the pressure on. But like I say, as always, Robert, was it a game at a time? But listen, they're there for a second, but you don't look too far ahead. You just go a game at a time. But we're getting better, aren't they?
Robert.
Yeah, come in.
Can I make a wee point now? It's just we were talking about Montgomery, and he's obviously, he's trying to persist with that style of football, and it's clearly not working, and it's reflecting Hibs' position in the league table. And I think when you look at our manager, and I just can't sing the big man's praises enough because I think it shows the difference in quality in our manager and a guy like Nick Montgomery, and obviously very different stages of their career, but we've only recently just started playing some really nice football, like the last 2 or 3 games, and that's because our manager realised that we didn't have the capabilities in the first month or 2 to do that, so we had some ugly results. Nick Montgomery, he isn't understanding that. He doesn't realise that you need to have a plan B because, like we said, Hibs can play all the lovely football that they like, and they played some nice stuff against us, even though they got absolutely destroyed, but it's because they don't have anybody to put the lovely stuff that they create away. And that's the difference. And I think it's going to cost him his job if he keeps going. You really need finances to get what you like, and I don't think he's going to get it in enough time to save his job.
Do you think as well the recruitment they've done is similar kind of players that like to play, players coming up for Bournemouth that obviously want to be on the ball and you see maybe don't have that capability to play ugly?
I think Hibs have been, a culprit to maybe overspending or overcompensating for the size of club they are. I think it was 2 seasons ago that they signed that boy for America that nobody had heard of, and apparently he was on like 15 grand a week at Hibs. What was Denny? You remember him? The wee blonde boy? Can't remember his name. He only played like 10 games or something, and he was on like 15 grand a week. And it's decisions like that. And you look at the table again, I mean, it's embarrassing where Dame and Aberdeen are.
Is that the boy that used to be at United and went to play in MLS? Is that what you're talking about?
I couldn't tell you if he was at United, mate, but I think he was in MLS before going to Hibs.
Played the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Was it Chris Muller?
Him, that's the boy.
Him, yeah. Great work, Davey, great work.
There's that unrivaled knowledge for Lyndon Bowes.
There's that giggle, Davey.
That's absolutely fantastic. Right, okay. Let's try and round this one up. That's getting clipped up, that, Davey. You've spoken about the second penalty and whether it's a penalty or not. Well, listen, it was given, and Adam either steps up again. Now, there's been talk whether, Celtic have struggled with penalties over the last few weeks, certainly. I think Louis Palmer missed 2 in the Ross County game. But this, I say kid, he stepped up, Kerr, and in quite a pressure moment, he's put it away. And you could see that when he went over to the crowd, the relief on the Celtic supporters' faces.
Yeah, I mean, he took his 2 penalties well, didn't he? Put him away well. Sent the goalkeeper the wrong way twice, and that's half the battle. But on the highlights I've watched, he looked okay. He was getting the chances. He was getting into chances. He didn't score again. He didn't put any away, but he was getting in the chances. And that's all you want if you're a striker, get into position to get chances. And at the end of the day, you all end up putting some away. No, you don't put everyone away, but if you keep looking for them. it's up to you to put him away. But no, I thought I actually thought he done okay, but I thought the rest of the Celtic team struggled. But like I said, it was, you can see the relief when they scored the penalty. I think you seen the players in the dugout banging and everything. It was just relief because they knew they had been poor and they knew probably should have won the chances they missed. But that's just football at the end of the day. But listen, they know they're in a dogfight with us, and they'll not admit it, but they know that. I think Rodgers will maybe see us coming now.
No, and I think that's a point you make, because both sides, as you touched on, Kerr, celebrating at the final whistle their games respectfully. It's been a big midweek.
That me, Robert, again, aye?
Aye, sorry.
It was, aye. I mean, Ibrox was great the other night. I mean, I usually leave a bit early just to get down the stairs before everybody comes. If I doesn't, then I'm staying in the last garage before, like, waiting everybody go. But even I stayed to them because you didn't want to leave, because it was that important that everybody was, David, you were there, the stadium was rocking, it was so loud. I think the last time I heard that was like a European night, and it was just so much, it was just a relief. When Campbell scored, the place just erupted, totally erupted. And after that, even went down to 10 men, I didn't panic. I thought we seen the game out very, very well. And listen, Aberdeen, you can say they weren't great, but they weren't allowed to be great. They tried, they took their goal well, but I thought we played some good stuff at times. Other times we had to dig deep. But that's what you have to do to win the league. Everything can't be pretty all the time, like Lewis mentioned. Sometimes you have to dig deep and win the battles. But I just think this Rangers team just getting better. They're full of confidence. The mentality's changed. They all believe in each other. And even when we conceded that goal, the stadium went quiet for maybe 5 minutes. After that, we were back rocking, and the players didn't shock anything. Maybe came out in the first 5 minutes, second half, just to get themselves together again, but they didn't hide like they've done previously. And that's the difference, because they've got a different guy in the touchlines giving them instructions and giving them instructions in the dressing room, because they believe in him and he believes in them. And I think you've seen that. I mean, Silva could have scored a perfect goal at the end. When people he beaten is right through, he was unlucky, but listen, I'm happy with we're playing just now. I think we're only going to get better.
Title race is on. Okay. Up to Perth, St Johnstone against Hearts. Lawrence Shankland, the difference again. 50 goals for the Jambos for Lawrence. This one, Davey, started quite reminiscently, really. You know, Hearts on top early doors, but it was St Johnstone at the first chance through the new sideline. Kim Pioka, who looks actually quite a decent wee find.
Yep, absolutely. As well in this game, you know, I thought that Alan Forrest, you know, was back to his best. He's kind of Livingston form. You know, I know he got Player of the Month, you know, last month and stuff, but for me, he's not kicked on as much as I thought he would have, because when he was at Livingston, I thought, you know, there's signs of a player there, but this is a game that he really shone in. And I think when he plays, Hearts are a better side. I know Shankland's pivotal to everything they do, but he's just got that wee bit of spark, that wee bit of tenacity, that wee bit of just doing something different. You know, Vargas is all kind of pace and direct, but his end product, you know, won't always come off. Whereas there's a bit more cutting edge about Forrest, and I think we saw that last night. And, you know, you have to say as well, the goal as well, although it's a ball over the top, it's an absolutely sublime touch for Shankland, you know, over like Ryan McGowan, and, you know, into the back of the net. And it's just symptomatic of the way he's been playing for Hearts this season. You know, what's that, 22 goals this season, 50 for Hearts since he signed. The top man at the moment.
Davey, I want to stick with you, Davey, actually, because a point I wanted to make about the goal itself. Now, obviously, VAR had a look at it, and there was a possibility they were going to rule it off for offside. However, I don't know if you saw, but Constance seemed to have his arm round Shankland's neck as he spun away. And then he gets onto it, and obviously, as you say, it's a lovely finish. I just kind of felt that was maybe overlooked on Sports Scene.
Yeah, well, I mean, the goal, obviously, you know, is all that matters at the end of the day. So when they checked it and things, but you find with the VAR process, it's a flawed process. There's been incidents this week where potentially offside incidents could have been looked at in phases of play and such. It just seems that it's selective. You know, we don't get to hear the audio, and that's part of the problem. So it's all guesswork at the moment until we hear it. But there was some strange decisions in other games as we come on to, but also I felt, St Johnstone, they kind of huffed and puffed a bit. CDB had a chance at the end as well, which he should have done much better. Nicky Clark was on, they sort of threw caution to the wind. I just think, St Johnstone, they've only got so much for me. There's a distinct lack of quality. Early on in the season, I thought Kucherave was going to, look as if he might be that wee bit of something different for him, but he's went right off the ball. I know I take him in the predictor to score every week, but that's just because I'm bound to get one right if I keep going with him. So, and I quite like the name as well. But no, I think Hearts probably just about edged it. St Johnstone, for me, they're just going to do enough. I think they're just going to finish the one place above 11th and 10th and just avoid the relegation playoff.
Lewis, Shankland showed his capabilities both ends of the pitches over the last 2 games. He's cleared 2 off the line in the last couple of weeks. His all-round game is just getting better and better. 50 goals for Hearts. He's going to. Can he be named in the same breath as John Robertson? I don't even know if you'll remember John Robertson, but he is an absolute Hearts legend. I feel like the late 80s, early 90s, scored a lot of goals for Hearts. Probably the king of Gorgie, I'd name him as. But is Shankland in his way to becoming a Hearts legend, do you
think? I don't think so, because I don't think he'll be there long enough. I think surely if it isn't one of the old firm, and unfortunately, I think the ship has now sailed for Rangers. I think if we were to pick up Shankland, it would have been in January there. I don't think we'll go for him in the summer now with Danilo coming back and Dessers actually proving to be a wee bit better than useless. I think, Clement will probably have somebody in his mind other than Shankland that's probably a bit younger. But I don't see how this man doesn't get a big move, even if it's like to one of the bigger teams in the English Championship. He really does deserve to be making a bit more money and proving how good he actually is, because the clock is ticking. He's 28 now. And I think maybe the Euros is where he'll really shine, because I personally think he's now the country's best striker. I think he's a far superior footballer than Che Adams and Lyndon Dykes. So whilst I don't know if he will start, I would start him. And his goal was just quintessential Lawrence Shankland. He's using his strength to shrug off a massive unit like Constantine. He's a big gangly bastard, Constantine. He just shrugged him off. He's no there. We faint touch and it's a lovely finish. He's a phenomenal footballer. I think Hearts, you look at their squad and I think they are probably the third best squad in the league. They've got a lot of really good players. I mean, Vargas, Oda and Forrest anchor 3 pretty good players to facilitate Lawrence Shankland. You've got Beningame, who's finally back. The Wenhoff looks like a decent wee pick-up in the midfield. I think they've got decent centre-backs, decent full-backs and 2 really good goalkeepers. So I think Hearts will be running away for third. But in terms of Lawrence Shankland, no, I don't think he'll be a Hearts legend, because I think he'll get a big move in the summer.
Just to pull you on that move then, because he tried his luck abroad, didn't work out for him. He's come back to Scotland, come back home, as it were, and he looks happier. Do you see him looking to go away again? Do you think that's a route he'd go down?
Aye, I think he's definitely going to move for Hearts, but I don't see him going abroad, like to another European country. I think it will be a British move that Shankland will get. Although, you know what, the Serie A has been a really fruitful route for Scotland as of late, and that league is really, really lowered in quality in the last few years, and I think Shankland could do a job for probably 14 out of the 18 or 20 that it is in Serie A. I think he's that good. It's just whether it works out for him. He's in the absolute prime of his career, so I hope he gets the move that he deserves.
Did you say Scotland does there?
No, I just said Scotland.
Oh, right, okay, I'll let you away with that then. Wait, Scotland does there? Right, just last word to you, Kerr, on this one, because Hearts now are pretty much secured third. They're 12 points ahead of Kilmarnock. Stevie Naismith, another one who Connor wanted fired about 6-7 weeks ago. He's escaped Connor's crosshair. So he seems to have been getting a tune out. His players have gone on a really good run of late, and they're scoring goals as well.
Yeah, one of them breeds confidence, and you can see that starting to come for the Hearts side. I thought St John's were a bit unlucky in the chances they had. I thought they might have nicked some of them, but Hearts probably just deserved it. But that's the reason they wanted to keep Shankland that much, because he can be a difference between finishing third and maybe no finishing third like done last season because of goals you scored. Because you know yourself, you'd have predicted, I think every single one of you always take Shankland for first goal because it's kind of nailed on. Do you know that way? So you can see why they were quoting 4.5, 5 million. And you might come in and say that's too much, but if he was my player, that's what I would be asking for. Maybe more if you could get it, because that's how important it is to your team. But I don't think I'll agree with you. I don't think he'll be John Robertson. I don't think he'll be a legend Dick Gorg. I don't think he'll open a pub outside the stadium anytime soon. I think he'll maybe be down in England or somewhere else. Just don't go to Turkey. I was advising him, don't go to Turkey. Don't get paid there.
Wise words. Don't go to Turkey. Anyway, we will finish up. I'm just going to sort of snowball these two games into one because I think it's quite pertinent. Both these sides chasing that 4th spot. Kilmarnock with a 1-0 win in El Plastico against Livingston. And then you had St Mirren in that sort of delayed game in Paisley against Dundee, which we'll come to in a moment. Davey, if I've had to plump you for one at the moment, who's more equipped to go and get that fourth place slot?
Kilmarnock, because I think they've got more variety. And I know Kerr and your dad and all the rest of it, but just I think Kilmarnock have got far more options to change games, different types of players to play different styles. You know, they can play 3 at the back. You know, they can play 4-4-2. They can play 4-3-3. They've just got great options, tidy players in key positions. They've got Marley Watkins, Kevin Van Veen, Kyle Vassell. They've got Danny Armstrong. They've got Matt Kennedy, who come on and made such an impact in the game yesterday. Because I'll be honest, I think this is the best Livingston have played all season. They were right in the game and they had great chances. They were unlucky not to come away with anything. If Livingston had won the game, I don't think you would decry them. They really played well. But as I say, Kilmarnock have that cutting edge. They've just got that amount of options, and you have to credit Derek McInnes for that, because it's some turnaround. They were such a defensive, off the ball side, and now they've got great variety. And whilst it wasn't their best performance, it's the number of the options and the fact that they can change it and throw caution to the wind. Last season, Kilmarnock couldn't do that, but the amount of attacking players they had on within the last 10-15 minutes of the game last night is what won them the game.
Yeah, I think David Martindale alluded to that, didn't he, post-match, saying the subs won them the game, and Derek McInnes, he said they're the best ones to win, but you probably not should have won the game, and you score late and take it. I do agree with David said. I thought Livingston played really well. The big boy Yengi up front gives him something. If he was a bit more polished, then he might have scored a couple of goals, but he was unfortunate, and obviously they leave with nothing. Kerr, you make a case then for St Mirren. Come on.
I just think they're a very good side at this point in time. I think Robinson's got them playing really well. I mean, that was a good Dundee side this season, and I thought against Dundee run over the top of them, and they were down to a man setting off, which to me was never a red card. The boy was pulling out the challenge, but you can't stop yourself getting through. But we know that with VAR. But I think they've been to Aberdeen in one, they've been to Hibs in one comfortably. I just think he's got a group of players a bit like us who believe in a manager, and he believes in them, and they're full of confidence, and they're not letting up. They'll go into the weekend thinking they can win that as well. St Mirren are a very difficult side to play against. They're physical, they're strong, but they're good footballers, and they can score goals. So I think it will be tight, but I'm just obviously going to pump for St Mirren because of my dad. But it will be tight. I think Derek and him are two good managers. I have to say, Robin's a good manager and Derek's a good manager. They're good at what they do. They get their teams well organised and set out and give them all instructions what to do, but I think it'll be close. But I'm going for it because my dad's a St Mirren fan. One of my mates is a Cully fan, and I fucking hate Kilmarnock, so I'm going for St Mirren.
Robert, can I just nip in there as well, just to say as well, obviously you were speaking about Martin Boyle earlier on, but I think shout out to Shamal George for the worst haircut of the night.
Lewis's pal Shamal there. I think just on St Mirren care actually, because as you touch on, they can score goals. Mandarin and Ayunga do look a handful. They finally got that position up there sorted with two real threats. So that race could go all the way to the end of the season. Lewis, I'm going to give you the casting vote then. If you have to pick between Killie and St Mirren, where are you going? I know you won't sit on the fence, mate. Come on.
I would just about pick Kilmarnock, and I think the large majority of why would be the manager. I think Davy and Kerr are right in the fact that both of them are really good managers, and compared to some of the dross that we've had this year, they two are of a very good quality. But like Davy says, I think it's just the variety in the squad and how Kilmarnock are able to, they're a bit of a chameleon side. They set up with the three centre backs and Dees, Finlay and Mail. And then they can go to a 4-4-2 with Watkins and Vassell, and then then Kevin Van Veen as well. I think Kilmarnock will just about pip it. But St Mirren are a really good side. I really like big Mikael Mandron. I think he's a really, really good big player. And he has a handful. Anytime I've ever watched St Mirren, he looks, he's one that stands out. But definitely two of the better sides. But for me, I would just go for Killie.
Okay. Just I want to have Davey come to you. Just a wee word about Tony Docherty. Do you think he had a case for the handball?
A case, yes, but I put myself in. If it was given against Rangers, would I be hanging? So that's how I always look at it. And if that was given against me, I'd be, very disappointed. So I think the officials just about got that one right. I mean, it's a bit pointless though. For Stephen McLean booking him for that, because he's got every right to contest it. Any manager would. He's got the right to ask the question. It's just a tick box exercise for Stephen McLean, showing him the yellow card there. And obviously, if you take the incident that Kerr was talking about in the game as well, it's never a straight red. It's not.
How's it meant to stop yourself?
No, I know that, but I mean, he was booked, so he would have went off anyway. But it's not the point. It's the straight red card means he misses 2 games instead of 1, and I just think it's a shocking decision and just a bad use of VAR. And that Stephen McLean, he always loves to be the centre of attention. If he's got a game on the live telly, he's always looking for where the side camera is. He's wanting his face on it. He must think he's Gorgeous George or something. He really gets on my tits. I can't stand him. And see, to be honest with you, sorry, Robert, I know I'm on a bit of a rant now, right? But see, to be honest with you, Stephen McLean, because Don Robertson the night before decided that he wasn't changing decision, that's the only way he didn't change his decision, because you can't look at that and say that's a straight red. It's never a straight red.
He answered my question in the end. I was going to say, do you think he stuck with his decision because he's seen what Don Robertson had done at Ibrox? So, Davey, brilliant. That brings us to a nice close.
Just like to say, Robert, just to say, Sterling's appeal's been rejected.
All right, okay. So, how many games is he looking at now?
Don't know, I've just seen it. It's been rejected.
What we get 3 now, Davey?
Well, I thought it was £1,000 fine for a frivolous appeal, but it's only been 500. We've got. So that might just be the original, whether it be a 2-match ban for that be upheld.
Right, okay. So
we're never going to overturn it, because looked at VAR, he never overturned it in VAR, so he isn't going to overturn it at an appeal. Listen, but they've circled the wagons and they're all getting together, the referees. There's nothing we can do.
Oh, I love that. They've circled the wagons. Brilliant. Okay, we'll leave it there. Listen, we're not back Scottish Football Show till probably the following weekend, because obviously it's Scottish Cup and we just deal with the Premiership. But we are back tomorrow night for the Rangers Rabble podcast. We'll probably preview the Ayr game and talk about Sterling's red card and circling the wagons a bit more. And then we've got the build up and the reaction from the Ayr game as well. So really looking forward to that. Thanks if you joined us as well in the comments. Really, really good. Delighted to have you. Thanks again to the guys for joining.
Robert.
Well. Oh, on you go, Lewis.
You know what? I have a wee word on the Euro draw. Just a quick word to see what my thoughts are.
We can, because Lewis says before the show, he says, "Don't want to go another hour and a half, lad." So I'm thinking, right, we'll make it an hour. So we're approaching now. I'm going to read it, and then he says, after I've done all the let's have a wee chat about the Euro draw. Let's have a wee chat about the Euro draw then, because the Nation League draw was done before we came on here. Scotland are going to be up against Croatia, Poland, and the Portuguese. Lewis, we'll come to you then. What do you make of the draw? It was always going to be difficult, wasn't it, being in the top pot?
It certainly was, but I think we've actually got quite a good opportunity of definitely staying in. I think it's a relegation and promotion system, I think, in the Nations League, and I think Scotland are a far better side than Poland. Poland are, a lot of their big stars are starting to age out. Robert Lewandowski's in probably the worst form he's seen in his career in like a decade. So I certainly think we'll beat them, and even Croatia. They're a bit of an aging side as well. Portugal will be difficult. You're talking about one of probably the top 4 teams in Europe right now, but certainly good enough to stay in Division A.
I think as well, so I'm not going to talk to these two because I know these two don't really care much for the national teams. It's going to be me and you this one, all right? Look at them both grinning like Cheshire Cats. You think as well, this is...
Hey, baby, let's go.
You think, Lewis, this is the sort of test that Steve Clarke needs, because he's proved he can beat the side in and about us, but it's against that step up that we've really struggled. We saw, obviously, away in Spain, the England game as well, France, albeit a friendly. Do you think that's the test that we need against these better sides?
Aye, I think it'll show one of two things: whether the problem is the quality of the Scotland squad, or the problem is, the quality of the Scotland manager. And I think it will be the latter. I think, Steve Clarke's done amazing as Scotland manager, but I think he's got a ceiling. We're starting to get into a mini golden generation right now, and some of the young talent we're bringing through in Scotland as well is mightily impressive, and it would just be a shame to see that talent go to waste. It was obviously really impressive beating Norway, but I think even Norway are a level below the likes of Croatia and Portugal, certainly, so it'll definitely be a big test.
100%. Listen, it's a great chance as well for young guys to go out and see some big stars at Hampden. So bring them on is what I say. Right then, any more before I wrap it up? No, last orders? No, yous are all good, aren't you? Brilliant. As I say, we are back tomorrow night. Original pod. Get your notifications on and get tuned into that. But thanks to the boys for joining us. Kerr, thank you. Davey, thank you. Lewis, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.